Ah, Tina. Tina and Steve are in the house. Good morning, beautiful ones, and especially folks that aren't here every Sunday. Ray and Mary and Gail. And Gail's partner of 100 years. And alive to tell about it. Hi, everybody. Happy Easter. Happy Easter. I wish Chloe were here to say what they say in the Orthodox Church. Christo. And yeah, once again, Tina. Thank you. Thank you. What she said. Sadly, I heard that in Jerusalem, where there would normally be tens of thousands of pilgrims walking the Via Dolorosa, the path that Jesus took on the way to the cross, that's closed this year. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the Dome of the Rock, all holy sites are closed due to war. 50 Jews at a time are allowed to the Western Wall, the Wailing Wall. So these are the times that we are in. But here I've heard that there's a big celebration going on for Easter. They showed on the morning news, big church, black church in downtown with 100 people in the choir, which was awesome. And really, really celebrating that Christ is risen. The weatherman was funny. He said, well, there's sunrise services have started already. I mean, there really was a sunrise, but there was a sunrise, because of course it's there, even if you can't see it. So this is my sermon on faith. You gotta believe what you can't see, right? You have to believe what you know in your heart. So today is a beautiful day for us. We have Tom Legere back. So big hand. Thank you to everybody who set up today. And did you see those flowers coming in? Brenda planted our flower box. Truly the perfect colors, the perfect everything. So thank you. We got Easter goodies, coffee and tea. For those who are here for the first time, that stuff's over there. And you're allowed to get up, and we have dogs. So, we're pretty casual here. So let's begin with Morning Has Broken, a song everyone knows and loves. And this is a really particularly beautiful video, so let's look. And lyrics are on the back of your program. Morning has broken like the first morning. The blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for the springing, fresh from the word. Sweet rains new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the red garden, sprung in completeness, where in Salt Lake. Praise with elation, praise every morning. God's with creation of the new day. Joni and Danny are in the house. Hey, you guys, there's the front row up here. Come sit by Bill Metler. Broken like the first morning, blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for the springing, fresh from the word. Ah, beautiful faces we don't see every week. Joni and Danny are here. Beautiful. That makes my heart sing. So it's funny on the YouTube, Bob Simon, on the YouTube, they have a little difficulty with the concept of fresh from the word, as in God created, God spoke and spoke this world, this creation into being. Most of them, the guys that write the lyrics, were fresh from the world. So whatever, it's all good. Who would light the peace candle today and say a word? Bill Metler. Our Eagles victory candle burns on.
In honor of peace, that's right, the mic. In honor of Easter and resurrection, I wanted to remember Dwight Eisenhower and his cross of iron speech. He said, "Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies, in the final sense, a theft from those who hunger and are not fed, those who are cold and are not clothed. This world in arms is not spending money alone. It is spending the sweat of laborers, the genius of its scientists, the hopes of its children. The cost of one modern heavy bomber is this: a modern brick school in more than 30 cities. It is 2 electric power plants, each serving a town of 60,000 population. It is 2 fine, fully equipped hospitals. It is some 50 miles of concrete pavement. We pay for a single fighter with 500,000 bushels of wheat. We pay for a single destroyer with new homes that could have housed more than 8,000 people. This is not a way of life at all, in any true sense. Under the cloud of threatening war, it is humanity hanging from a cross of iron." And we are right there now under this lame leadership, and we hope for resurrection. We hope for new energy, new inspiration.
Thank you, Bill, for that. Is this a good time, Alan, for your the Artemis message? Alan has been watching the live feed from the mission around the moon and saw an Easter message that thought would be valuable.
NBC News, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call Integrity for a voice check.
Integrity, this is Tom Costello with NBC News. Are you hearing us okay?
Hey, Tom, it's great to hear your voice all the way up here, 155,000 nautical miles from Earth. How are you doing?
I'm well. Congratulations on your mission so far. I'm told this is the farthest interview ever conducted in history. And I'm wondering, how does it feel right now to be in a place that nobody has been since 1972?
Honestly, it is unbelievable that we in 1972, just being up here and seeing how difficult this is and how hard the team is working. We do have a little bit of echo on your call. We'll try to turn it down while we're answering, but this is a magnificent accomplishment to be up here, to see the moon, to see the Earth, and to know that we are between those two celestial bodies, and you can see it when you look out the window. The Earth is almost in full eclipse, the moon is almost in full daylight, and the only way you can get that view is to be halfway between the two entities. It is truly awe-inspiring up here. I think as we go into Easter Sunday, thinking about, all the cultures all around the world, whether you celebrate it or not, whether you believe in God or not, this is an opportunity for us to remember where we are, who we are, and that we are the same thing, and that we got to get through this together.
This is Artemis Mission Control at Junction 3. Thank you.
Does anybody remember when the Christmas Eve, when Apollo 8, was it? And they read from, in the beginning, read from the book of Genesis. So bless them. May all creation be blessed. I found a beautiful prayer from Marianne Williamson that I thought I would share with you about being reborn, about rebirth, about resurrection, about beginning again. Last year at Easter, I talked about Father Greg Boyle in Homeboy Industries. Why? Because he's the closest thing to Jesus we've got going on this planet. And my way of following the teachings of Jesus is to look for and recognize and honor the people who are living, breathing Jesuses right here. And I love that we talked about Father Greg Boyle and all the people at Homeboy Industries who do what they do. Now to Marianne Williamson. Dear God, the world is not as it should be. There is violence and famine and sickness and pain. Let those things die, dear Lord. May we be reborn. My heart at times is not as it should be. there is conflict, unforgiveness, judgment, and rage. Let those things die, dear Lord. May I be reborn. As we embark upon the newness of the coming age, this was written at the millennium, may the wickedness which marked the old be cast away by love. Let wickedness die, dear Lord. May we be reborn. Where a brother sees not the beauty of his brother and a sister sees not the glory of her sister, where a brother sees not the innocence of his sister and a sister sees not the brilliance of her brother. May illusions die, dear Lord. May we be reborn. Take this millennium and all ages past and strip them of their lovelessness. May only love remain. Forgive the horror, exalt the glory, redeem the past, release the future, wipe away all tears, deliver us to joy, correct our thinking, and heal our hearts. May fear now die, dear Lord. May we be no longer who we used to be. Release your glory, which lies within us, that all the world might be reborn. This is my prayer for the age upon us. This is my prayer for me. May we be reborn. Amen. Marian Williamson. So we have lots of visitors, and I just would love for folks that aren't here all the time, starting with Gail's partner of 100 years, just to stand up and tell us your name. Most people might know you, but just say, name and social security.
Hi, my name's Allison Rubin, and yeah, I don't get here anywhere near as often as I should, or I want to. And it's every time I come here, I'm overwhelmed with the community that's here, and I stay away long enough that I forget about it. And that's a failing of mine. But I have made a little bit of a personal promise to myself to get back here more often, because I truly do miss the community that's here.
Good. Well, anytime you're welcome. And we're not keeping track, so welcome back, Al. I don't know you behind Mary. I'm sorry. I recognize your face, but I don't remember your name.
My name's Jerry Seymour, and I went to school of Sacred Ministries and graduated after writing Gary. I was a teacher, so yeah, so it feels wonderful being back here. The energy's heavenly. Anxious to listen to talk.
Glad you could be here. And ladies there behind Larry, yeah.
My name is Lucia. This is my first time at this gathering, but not my first time in this room. Bill kindly invited me to a citizens climate lobby meeting, and my mother and I came and felt there was something special about this space, so we're happy to return to it.
Oh my goodness.
Good to see you, Lucia.
And my name's Brenda Seminelli, and I came here just to see Moose again. Because it was such an inviting space, but also I just can't say how grateful I am for you showing the moonshot, except we didn't see the moonshot. And for me, in my life, what Easter is, because I'm not a Christian, is that today we all saw the side of the moon that no one has ever seen before. And that is something that is so phenomenal for a human being today. And so that's just something that I think we ought to, when we look at the pattern on that, it actually looks like yin yang. And that's what I saw, is the photo or the view that I saw. Because you're used to seeing the moon, and it's patterned, and it's not the same. And so different. It's like being reborn in a way. Yeah. So it's a very special day that it happened on Easter Day that we got to see it.
Thank you for reminding us of that. Thank you and welcome. And please come often. We love new people. For our healing prayers, let's just hold people in our heart who are not well. We have people who are not well in our families. I have a piece of music that I would just love for us when we'll have the offering, and we'll listen to this very, very beautiful piece of sacred music, Come Down, O Lord Divine. And so just in this spirit of remembering the sick, remembering everyone that you love and are concerned about, and remembering those you who have lost, do that in this time while we listen. And then we'll pass the basket. So come down, O love divine.
takes the humbler heart, and all its own shortcomings weeps with longing. And so the yearning strong, with which the soul will long, shall far outpass the power of human telling. For none can guess its grace till we become the place wherein the Holy Spirit makes his dwelling.
Oh, also, it is pledge drive time, so the cards are in the basket. Should you choose to just take one and fill it out and bring it back next week or whatever? Thank you so much for your gifts. Thank you for your generosity. We promise to use them for good. So now the best part of the day. Our dearest, dearest, beloved Tom Legere will bring us his Easter message.
Susan, does everyone have one of those cards? I need to do more. Okay. While we are passing out those cards, please let me tell the story behind that, because you're part of it. The last time that I came to Pebble, the theme was wrestling with God. Some of you perhaps remember that. And it turned out pretty well, and I had it put on YouTube. And a friend of mine who did that is very good with technology issues. So I asked him to think about coming up with an image that would represent wrestling with God. And here's what he came up with. We've all seen that incredible
fresco on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel of creation, where God is reaching down to Adam, just pointing his finger, trying to wake him up a little. And Adam is sort of coming out of his slumber, and he's reaching up to God too. But what my friend did is he used AI. That's all I know about it. And he came up with this image that everybody seems to love, because in this you see the Father grabbing on to Adam and not just wrestling. You could say it's kind of arm wrestling, but most people who look at it see it's God like saying, stand up, grow up. It's time not just to sit there in your slumber. I need you. And here we go. So God is grabbing a hold then of Adam. And on the back of the card, I wrote what I'm entitling this, Take Hold. That's what we need right now. So happy to be with you folks today. And I'm going to wish you, this will be a strange word, a happy Eastery. Now, there's a few folks who have been following my Facebook page, so you know what I'm talking about. But everybody is walking around today, Happy Easter, Happy Easter. But if you ask them, what does Easter mean? The word Easter, nobody knows. It turns out that it comes from an Anglo-Saxon word of hundreds and hundreds of years ago, Eostre, who was, you ready for this, an Anglo-Saxon goddess of the spring and fertility. So all these Christian nationalists who are yearning for the old-time religion, they have no idea what it is that they're asking for here. All of everything, the Passover, the resurrection, that came later. Our ancestors, hundreds of generations, have been celebrating this time of the year because they know it's a time of miracles. The earth comes alive again. It's a time of rebirth. I've been asked every time I come here to choose a piece of music. And you'd think, well, what would be a classy thing to do? Maybe something from Handel's Messiah. But no. Instead, I've chosen a song that fits right in with our astronauts today, and right in with some of the things that I'll be sharing with you today. It's a song that was written by Norman Greenbaum, a nice Jewish guy, and it's called Spirit in the Sky. And I'm going to ask that that be played now, but I have to warn you first, though. It's pretty hard to sit still once he gets into this thing. So if you want to stand up and move around, I probably will. Feel free to do so. This is a time to let loose, to take hold, to grow up, to say yes to change, yes to evolution, and yes to God. So, if you would please, Spirit in the sky. Yeah, you can't resist. Place that's best, down to die. Spirit in the sky, coming up to the Spirit in the sky. That's where I go, I'm gonna die. When I die and they lay me to rest, gonna go to the place that's the best. Oh, it's a mess, but I have a friend in Jesus. So you know that when you die, he's gonna recommend you to the Spirit in the sky. To the Spirit in the sky. When you die, and they lay you to rest, you're gonna go to the place that's the best. Never sin. I got a friend in Jesus. I know that when I die, he's gonna set me up with the Spirit in the sky. Set me up with the Spirit in the sky. When I die and they lay me to rest, go to the place that's the best. That's the best. There you go. Wow. Oh, yeah, we can go home now. That was it. That's... Woo. You can feel it in the air. Spring is arriving. The frozen days of winter, and we've had a few of them this year, are being conquered once again by this season of rebirth that fascinated our ancestors. It is right before our eyes for those who can see. Life always has the last word over death. That's what it means. Nobody dies. Forms change. St. Paul, that great mystic, he said, life is changed, not ended. And that great scientific mystic, Albert Einstein, matter is neither created nor destroyed. There's no place to go. We just go to a different frequency. Nothing ever dies then. Christianity in its finer days understood that, that this feast was about a lot more than Jesus even. Because the feast itself is called a movable feast. Now, whoever thinks of this, that this feast, unlike Christmas, which is always December 25th, right? This changes dates because it takes place on the first Sunday after the first full week after the spring equinox. And so again, to our Christian nationalists who are looking at this whole thing from an entirely different point of view, that's what this is about. Spring, however, gets an extra dimension of hope for those who follow that story of Jesus. For on this day, we remember what we call his resurrection. Okay, but what does this mean? What it does not mean is that his physical body was resuscitated. That would just be a return to an old form. And I guarantee you the majority of people who are celebrating Easter today are thinking that's what it is. His body came alive again. Almost like, no disrespect, but Dr. Frankenstein's monster kind of a thing. That's not going forward. No, he graduated. He didn't do it himself. God did that to him. He did all this by losing, by being defeated. His dead body then was put to rest. Jesus dies, but the Christ is arisen. And that is not just for him, but it is for everyone. Oh, here comes the rain. A sign of blessing in the old days. He moved on from his physical body, Jesus did, to his inner glorified body. And this spiritual body, the wisdom tradition would call his astral body. And in so doing, he revealed not just his true identity, but the true identity of us all. None of us are solid. All of us are made of energy. You can't kill it no matter what you do. You can only rise to higher levels of consciousness. The tissues that we have are made up of cells. The cells are made up of atoms. The atoms are made up of neutrons and protons and electrons. And they in turn are made up of quarks. The quarks are made up of light, and light is made up of consciousness. Deep within us all our true identity is divine. Not on the ego level. Oh my gosh, that's what the spiritual journey is all about, is realizing that that's a false understanding of who we are. But when we understand that our inner identity is spirit, whoa, glorious day. The freedom that comes from that. This graduation then was understood by the early disciples as what awaits all of us who have disidentified from the low-level consciousness and died to the fear-based false self. So it doesn't happen automatically. This is where you don't have symbolically an Easter without a Good Friday. Good Friday is the symbol of the death of the ego. There's no way to do an end run around that. So one does this by surrendering to God, who is not a being, but being itself. For those of us who are on the road to unitary consciousness, none of this is a surprise. We too can hope for, and we also expect, that our physical death will only be the demise of a temporary form, and that we too will be victorious over death on the soul level. But much more importantly, I think, it tells us that God is part of the process. Spirit can't die, God can't die, and we as creatures of God, deep within, we can't die either. This is what we are called to do now. Now, you might look around and say, okay, we're in bad shape in the world today. That's true in a lot of ways. But I'm one of those people who looks and thinks about the bigger picture, and maybe 99% of the people are still lost. But I see something very, very exciting happening today. And that is that people are slowly waking up. Not by choice, it's happening to them, just like it happened to Jesus. I was looking the other day through some of the programs that come via Facebook. Now, these are just groups that nobody has set out in a grand plan to organize. They're all just springing up. Now, here are some of the names of these groups. I don't know every single thing that's on them, can't vouch for everything, but there's one called Contemplative Mystics. Meister Eckhart, Thomas Merton, Carl Jung, Rumi, Lao Tzu. Another one is called Buddhism, Zen, Tao, and meditation. That first group has 185 members. The second group has 628. The third group is non-duality, the truth of our being. That has 765 members. Rumi is Rumi, 312. And little old Tom Legere with his rinky-dink Facebook page has about 325. So here's what I would submit to you, that 50, 75 years ago, none of those groups would have existed. We were all just walking along, following the rules of the different churches that we were brought up in. And all of these groups indicate that these churches don't realize the gold mine that they're sitting on. But they're going to have to go beyond the literal into the mystical. And that's the part that I look at and I think, oh my Lord, what a privilege it is to be alive today. Jean Houston, some of you may know her. She was known as Hillary's guru at one point. She says that God must really, really love us, this generation. Why? Because we are the people of the parenthesis. That's what she calls us. Meaning, the old forms have died that used to lead people to God. That's no big news. But the new forms have not yet fully arisen. But that's the point of creativity. Little groups like Pebble. Where did this come from? This is the Holy Spirit. This is God's work here. And it's going to take a long time for it to fully manifest. Everything that happened to Jesus can happen to us. That's like a huge thing that's never dawned on many people. People want to worship Jesus. That was the last thing that he wanted. He wanted people to follow him so that they could awaken to their own Christ identity. And even our old friend St. Paul, he calls Jesus the firstborn of many brothers and sisters. And I looked that one up, and there were about 25 different translations of that, depending on what Bible you're reading. But it's almost as if people are dancing around the obvious point that Jesus was not meant to be put up on a pedestal and worshiped. He wanted everyone to be brought into Christ consciousness. And that's what we are celebrating here today. And when this happens, then we look at life in a completely different way. We look at life as a process of which we are a part. The dying, the rising, it's all part of the process. We had a handyman stop at the house the other day, and we were talking about how we're all getting old and falling apart. And he said, well, it beats the alternative, doesn't it? We've all heard that one. And I thought to myself, does it? If you really get this, why are we afraid to die? Just share something right now, a little bit of a thing here, that right now my wife Paula is 81, same age as me, and just a few days ago she went into hospice at home, okay? There's nothing but smiles around the house, serenity. Nobody's afraid. Nobody's even thinking of this as a death, but of a rebirth. Because remember, you couldn't die if you wanted to. You're just going to close your eyes, you're going to go to another level, and St. Paul and Einstein, they're all saying the same thing. There's no place to go. And, I look at myself, I'm 81, as I said, and, the actuarial tables tell me that I've only probably got a handful of years to live. It's okay. It's okay. It's not about ego. It's about planting seeds, dropping pebbles into a pond, just like this little church community has always known it was about, just dropping pebbles in. And it's going to take time. I'm not talking, well, we're not going to live to see it or whatever. So what? We're not talking 50 years or 100 years. It may be thousands of years. It may be millions of years. The earth is giving birth, not just to the consciousness that Jesus had, but to the consciousness that all of us can have if we can break through our fears. So this, to me, this celebration, it's just, I feel so free, and I hope you do too. Because remember, when you look at your own death, oh my God, so many people fight it, kicking and screaming and pulling the tubes out, and doing anything to stay alive. But when it's our time, it's our time. And then we move on. And then, who knows in exactly what form we're going to continue. The resurrection shows us clearly that death is not the end. When Jesus is walking in this astral body, he can walk through walls, he can disappear. He's showing us that it's not just resuscitation. There's another level beyond this one. So that's what we're celebrating here today. We're celebrating eternal life that can open itself up to any one of us who is capable of just surrendering day by day to God. So how about if we spend some time with some questions and a little dialogue, any reactions that you might have, any little stories that you might want to share about how you look upon death and rebirth. Well, 15, 20 minutes or so at least, and we'll see what's out there. So everybody just take a breath. And when something in the spirit of the Friends worship houses pops into your consciousness is coming from the divine within, just raise your hand. And maybe it would be helpful if you stood up, though, when you speak. And probably the microphone, which it's always a pain in the neck, but it helps a lot because people can then hear it, and then it will help the people who are watching this virtually. So, what do you think about this new idea of Easter and what it might mean? Yes, sir. Please. And then in the back. Gary.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks
Yes,
for
sir. Yes, sir.
sharing all that. And when you were sharing about your wife, it touched my heart. And I think about the duality, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yeah.
That saying is just being it's coming up in me. I'm feeling that message, and I think that's the for me the challenge is how to live in that duality and recognize that we're our spiritual beings and we also are human, And I think one of the challenges is how to hold the space for our humanity and to feel all the human emotions that are not always resurrected. We're not, that place of resurrection, I think is something to strive for, to be, but also to be in a human body, and how do we embody our physicality, our emotions, or human experiences. And I think that's the piece that I think is the biggest challenge I find. And I can see today we want to hold space for that higher vision, recognizing that that's the goal, to really come from that place. So I'm just wondering if you can speak to that.
Sure. Okay, great. Our emotions are not evil. These come from God too. But they can't rule us. So it's not the same thing as suppressing it. It's trying to look at some of these emotions and sublimate them, change them into something deeper. For example, when we look at a lot of the things that are going on today, it's easy to feel anger, for example, and sadness, as Bill appropriately showed during his sharing there at the beginning. We're human, we feel these things. But after we get a hold of ourselves there, we go back into the well and we say that the answer is always the same, and that is love. Okay? And if we can do that, then nobody can touch us. I think of, for example, the famous Rosa Parks from down south, right? The black lady who challenged authorities in a very calm way. And one day she was on a bus, and she just sat in the front of the bus. And one of the authorities there said, if you continue to do that, you're going to be arrested. And her response was very calmly, you can do that. But then the next day, there she was again, and sitting at the lunch counters and encouraging little kids who had pigmented skin to go to school. So this needs to be, I think, like a group of warriors, but love warriors. And that might mean, though, challenging some of the authorities, but not with guns and weapons. This is what Martin Luther King was so good at. He knew that not only is it against the teaching of Jesus, but it also doesn't work in the end. He and Gandhi and other people like that realized you can change a lot if you stand your ground. We've all heard the expression, don't just stand there, do something. Some of them had it in a different way. Don't just do something, stand there. Yes, sir, in the back. And if you would, perhaps somebody could... No, it's worth it to have it so we can all hear it. It's like weddings where they say, oh, everybody can hear us. They don't need microphones.
It's just this way
yes,
it gets on the recording, too.
Hi, Joan Robertson.
Hi.
I was a hospice nurse for many years, and I've been humbled many, many times.
Yeah.
I was in a home that the daughter did not believe of anything, and when you're dead, that's it.
Yeah.
And I sometimes would rock people on their feet, kind of rock them to death. But this daughter was sitting at her mother's bedside, and as I was rocking this patient, all of a sudden, I felt an energy coming through me, and I looked at the daughter and I said, I think your mom's leaving. Say goodbye.
Yeah.
She turned to me and her jaw dropped. And Mom just then passed away.
Yeah.
And she shared with me after Mom passed and we grieved a little that she saw a purple light come out of my head. And I felt that come through.
Sure.
I felt this patient.
Yeah.
It was the only time. And I think it was a gift for the daughter from God to let her know that she was in a good place. She was with God.
Sure.
And I'm so sorry I'm happy that your wife is in hospice.
Yeah.
And God bless her. What's her name so we can pray
Paula.
for her? Paula.
Yep. Danny, and then row behind. Yes, sir, Dan.
Well, I wasn't actually planning on saying anything. I was just holding the mic, but since I have it, I just want to say, Tom, I really appreciate the teaching. I have a new understanding, a more full understanding about what that means. That idea that, you know, I beat around with in my head my higher self, my spiritual existence. I know that it's there.
Yeah.
But my only comment is this. I love the fact that you mentioned that you can't have Easter without Good Friday.
Right.
So for me, just my personal experience, I find that when I can put myself aside and only ask for what I want Spirit to help me with or to do if I'm doing something, whatever that might be, it happens. So I actually have incidences in my life where that's actually what happens.
Sure.
Die first, resurrection.
Yeah.
Death, life.
Yeah.
So I get out of the way, and I just thank God for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Isn't
the
it
message.
amazing? Thank you, Danny.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Right behind you, Dan. There's a
okay.
lady right there.
I won't. Just trying to hold on to the mic.
Doing well,
people.
Danny.
I told myself I wasn't going to do this, but then I said, it's Tom. So my name is Gail. I had the most wonderful opportunity to help somebody pass over. 6 years ago, my friend, her name was Pat, called me. She used to be my neighbor, but she moved out. I moved her out to Colorado, so she called me from Colorado, and she asked me to come out because she wasn't doing well. And when I asked her to elaborate, she said that she was in hospice, so she wouldn't be able to really, she wasn't able to tell me that she was, going to be passing on. So I thought, oh, okay. By the way, this woman I met in one of those spiritual meetup groups that Tom was talking about, back in the day, the meetup groups were real popular or whatever. And I went through those and I met her on that. Anyway, so I got out there and I couldn't believe what condition she was in. She was really terrible, terrible condition. And it was hard for me. She did have a hospice nurse, wasn't there all the time. And, the song, Spirit in the Sky, it was her favorite song. And that's what made me think of her. It was one of the last songs she listened to before she passed away. And she was, animated and singing along with it. And I've always loved the song, well, before then too. But anyway, so as she deteriorated, she started asking me to please assist her. And I'm like, okay, how can I do this? What am I supposed to do? How can I do this? And I looked into it as much as I could, and the laws were overwhelming. And I asked the hospice nurse, and I said, she wants to go. She wants to go. She wants to go. And on the day the hospice nurse was out visiting her, she told me how to facilitate that. And when the hospice nurse left, before she could get back to her office, my friend passed away right there. And I was just thrilled to be able to be there with her.
Yeah.
The only time I really got sad was when I had to pick up her cat, and I had the cat say goodbye to her, because I knew that, the cat was gonna be, that was, I started crying then, but I ended up taking the cat home. But that is, I totally believe and understand everything you talked about, Tom. So it's just so good to be verified and reaffirmed in all this stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Last row there, looks like. And then up here in the front row. We'll swing around there.
Thanks, Tom.
Sure.
I came particularly because I knew you were going to be here. I've seen you speak before.
Thank you.
Death has always been something that's been normalized in my childhood. I grew up in conservative synagogue, not conservative political, but conservative middle ground Judaism. Right. And my father would always get called to synagogue to be part of a minyan, to say Kaddish for people who died. I grew up in a large extended family, so people were dying all the time. And whenever there was a phone call, and my father would say, no, I knew somebody died. And my mother was on the phone chain, so she would call people and say, it's all over, babe. That's how I knew, if somebody was ill, that they were gone. So it was normalized, nothing I was ever afraid of. My maternal grandmother died when I was 4. I have no recollection of that. My paternal grandmother died when I was 13 or 14. My parents are both gone. In fact, yesterday I said Kaddish for my dad. 18 years is when he passed. But the most intimate hospice experience I ever had was when my friend Andrea died. She died in 2018. And I was with her from diagnosis to her last breath. Gary's quite familiar with Andrea and the journey that we were on. And she was afraid in the beginning, but toward the end, she came to accept. She was a nurse, so she came to accept what she was going through. And the last hours of her life, I sat with her along with a few other friends, and I offered her Reiki. And right before she died, she rallied. She tried to climb out of bed. And she was gorked on morphine. I don't know how she did it. And I climbed in bed with her, threw my arm around her, and I said, you can leave anytime you want, but you're not getting out of this bed. No. So a few hours later, I literally felt her spirit leave. And that was an amazing experience. The other was my mom, who died in 2010. And I was with her. She lived in Florida, so I wasn't there all the time. But we did the hospice journey together as well. And in the beginning, she was scared. My dad had died 2 years earlier. And I said, well, what do you think happens when we die? She says, I don't know. I said, do you think Daddy will be waiting for you? I don't know. Your parents, your brother? I don't know. I said, well, when you do know, come back and tell me. She said, I'll come back as a butterfly. So I've had butterfly experiences a lot. Toward the end, like a few months before she died, she had 2 really vivid dreams that she asked me to help her interpret. One was her mother sitting on a park bench, and she died when my mom was probably in her middle 30s, pointing her finger, like the God image you were talking about. Sure. And she wanted me to take her finger. What do you think that means? I said, Mom, what do you think that means? And she laughed. The next one was she was on a water slide. And she said, and she was speaking in a little child's voice, and I was so scared. And there was a little boy in front of me and a little girl behind me. And by the time I got down the end of the water slide, I was having so much fun. What do you think that means? And I said, Mom, what do you think it means? So I was not with her when she took her last breath. She orchestrated it that way. Nobody that really knew her well. My sister, me, her regular living caregiver, hospice nurses, they were all gone. I think she wanted us to remember her the way she was when she could still talk and still function. So I am not afraid of death. I'm a social worker. I deal with a lot of people in grief. I have a few clients right now who are saying goodbye to loved ones, and I'm kind of ushering them through that. So what you shared was absolutely perfect for today. So this nice Jewish girl celebrates Easter and has a friendly relationship with Jesus.
Gotcha.
So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Could you pass that around the front here to Moose up there? And as it's coming, let me just mention again, it goes back to ourselves and our own inner transformation determines everything here. There is an expression that he or she who dies before they die does not die when they die. And what it means is once you disidentify from that ego self, there's nothing to defend. It's the true self that's always been one with God. Yes, Ms.
Everything you said this morning is all the things I've been feeling for a long time. I feel a great hope. I feel the cracks opening into greater consciousness. And consciousness is really what it's all about. And sometimes I play with words and I play with ideas, and it occurred to me, what if our great leader, instead of bombing Iran, would fix everything wrong, would give them money for food and for and show them how to be prosperous? And what if all that money, instead of being put into bombs, was put into making everything better and showing how to love? And why don't our prisons do that? When people go to prison, why aren't they shown what it's like to be loving and kind to each other? Everything would change.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that.
And I loved what you had to read, Bill. That was incredible. That's beautiful. And I also had the thought recently, war is stupid. And that's when I had that illusion of our leaders just going to other countries and helping them instead of, what a powerful thing that would be, how they would be remembered and honored.
No, exactly. And see, you're asking yourself, if it's so obvious, how come people don't get this, right? But here's the way growth works on a macro level, okay? We've been speaking about the micro level inside ourselves, but there are different energies that coalesce that have their own life, and they, as it were, are battling one another right now. See, it's not a case of, and I used to think this, that kind of being a modernist, things will evolve, sure, but that means they slowly get better. No, they don't. They don't. What evolves is consciousness, but behavior doesn't necessarily evolve. And we are, basically looking at the difference between fear and love. That's a pretty big dialectic there. And, this is a time when the Neanderthals are putting up their last stand. And it's not going to be pretty. But we know they're not going to win. Teilhard de Chardin had said that once something appears in evolution, it will always appear again. So what happened with Jesus and his understanding is something that nobody can stop. That we continue to live. Nothing can ever defeat us on that level. So, we are, though, at a time when some people might end up getting hurt by standing up. We've seen 2 people killed in Minnesota, I mean, these are kind of things that, like 50 years ago, it couldn't happen in this country. Yes, it could. You know, there is such a thing as evil, which is more than the absence of good. That was another mistake I used to make. Oh yeah, well, there's evil, but that's just the absence of good. No, it has an energy in itself. Carl Jung said that. If anybody thinks that it's just the absence of good, they don't understand the human psyche. So we're going to run into it. And there's no easy way to do it, but I know one way that's not the way, and that's to pick up guns and fight. You know, thank God for our new Pope, by the way, who has really stood up and challenged, for example, the blasphemy of giving blessings to war. He said, war is always evil. And of course, that's not being well received. But, you know, that's what a courageous leader does. Who had their hand up? Was that you? Yes?
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to share. I've shared before, but maybe it fits in today's conversation. But I had the good fortune of being with both of my parents when they passed. And with my mother, I had just been about a month before to a training out at Naropa on end of life, spirituality and treatment. And so I learned there, I always thought, oh, if someone dies, oh, you have to call right away and have them come and get the person's body. And it just never occurred to me until this gentleman told this beautiful story of a family keeping their little boy and bathing him and dressing him in his favorite jammies. And they kept him for like a whole day, and all the friends came and all of that. So I knew that we didn't have to call right away for my mom. My sister-in-law and I anointed and dressed my mom, and we kept her there for, about 5 hours. And after about 2 hours, this is an 83-year-old woman who died with almost like a grimace on her face. Every wrinkle went away, and she looked like she was 30 years younger. It was the most incredible thing. Yeah. So highly recommend keeping, anointing, being with, speaking to a person newly passed, because they're right there in the ether. Same thing for your animals.
Sure. Yeah. I've seen also sometimes today people will lie down in bed with the person who just passed away. You know, bring the grandchildren in. You know, nothing to be afraid of. Just the body's going to a different place. Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else?
Sure.
My mom came to Folkways, a wonderful community locally, to spend her last 3 years. And when she had her second stroke, went into loss of consciousness, and it was time, the doctor said that she couldn't be revived. So we had a sort of a hospice, and at Folkways they have a special suite that you can say goodbye and stay there in the suite. And there's a kitchen, and so we cooked a dinner, and the 5 children came from all different parts of the U.S., and my wife Bonnie was with us, and she showed us how to bathe my mom. And she was there on the bed and nude. We were all gathered around her and looking at her beneficent state, her beautiful state at rest. And my sister Molly, the youngest of us, said, just think, we all came from inside her.
Sure. Yep. Right there to Susan.
One of the things that I know that anybody in the past couple of years of the School of Sacred Ministries, we've been having people come in to explain to us about natural funerals where we're not going through the embalmment and people can actually have that at home. So there are a lot more that I have seen even just since speaking of Facebook groups that would come up, and these are much more natural, just in case anybody finds that to be something calming for them to be able to do that at home or just a natural sort of thing.
Good.
I like. There's one in Bethlehem. Nancy says, cool.
Thank you, thank you. Anybody else? Rosalind? Thank you so much, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Hi, Joanne.
Hi, happy Easter. Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome. Sure.
All right, thank you, everyone, for sharing. Thank you, Tom. So let's sing our last song. It's another good one, so get up off your feet. You're not allowed to stay in your chair. And then we'll have a final blessing. So, one love, one heart. And there's lots of smiling, wonderful people in this video, so check it out.
Together.
Okay, let me just speak from the heart, our final blessing here. Dear God, we have been through a lot in our lives. And the winds have blown strongly. And we've had to learn the hard way that we cannot control the winds. But we can learn to adjust our sails. And what each one of us knows deep within us is that when we are in union with God, all will be well, and all manner of things will be well. So help us all to reach up and take hold and trust the birthing, the dying, the living, and to realize it's all beautiful and it's all part of your plan. Amen.
Bless you all. Have a beautiful week.
Hope to see you soon in person.
Our Peace Award winner from last year will speak about that incredible work, Man's Search for Meaning, by Viktor Frankl. So please come back.
Yeah, that's a good one.